My name's Eli Delaney, and I have the honor of meeting some pretty cool people. These are the entrepreneurs, the artists, the creatives, the game changers that are making a positive impact in the people that they meet. And I'm a firm believer that the people that you meet can get you anywhere you want to go. And this show is my way of sharing them with you. It's my way of also helping you meet cool people. All right, welcome back for another show, my friends. Today, I've got a cool guest you guys are going to have a lot of fun with, my friend, Martin Salama. So Martin has for over a decade now been the architect of the Worrier's life code and has been helping entrepreneurs shift from worry and the lack of abundance to the life warrior. He's just a cool dude. I mean, he talks about getting from a spot of worrying to warrior. And it's so powerful, some of the stuff that he is working on. So really the thing is that, life stands for something very, very important. Living incredibly full every day. And that's what we're going to do today when I bring in my good friend, Martin Salama. All right. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you, Eli.
It's always a pleasure getting to hang out with you. We were talking about this just before we popped in. It's like, oh, okay, so we're going to plan for 20 or 30 minutes, and it could take an hour and a half, depending on how good the conversation goes.
You never know with us.
You never know with us. So you and I met, it's been probably about a year and a half, maybe 2 years even now.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years ago. We got introduced by a wonderful lady out of the UK that could actually, she was helping with some chat stuff, or like chat bot stuff. And she introduced the two of us. We hit it off. And the great thing, I always say that I get some of the coolest clients and those clients become friends. And that is what's happened with you because, you and I have become very, very close friends. We've shared a lot of the journey together. You have been one of my favorite clients to work with. And we have had some amazing adventures over this last year.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel the same way. I love when I get into business with somebody and I get them and they get me and we just create together and we understand each other and the business just flows because of that. But as a result of that, the relationship grows.
Yeah. Most definitely, which is a lot of fun. And of course, that's part of why I do what I do. That's part of Meet Cool People, everything with that. So give us a little bit more. I did a bit of your intro, but tell us, how did you get started with the Worrier's Life Code? Where did that come from in your journey?
Yeah. So let me go back to 2008 for a minute. So in 2008, my wife and I were working on a project for 5 years to build a multi-million-dollar health club and tennis center in New Jersey. And it took us 5 years because it's not like you just say, wake up one day and say, okay, I'm going to build this. My wife came to me. I was just closing a business and she said, you're looking for something to do. I have a great idea. I've been starting to play tennis lately and I cannot find any place to play. There's always no court times available. So she said, why don't we do that? Why don't we open up a tennis center? Now, I got to be honest with you, Eli, I don't play tennis. I'm not an athlete. So the irony of me turning around and opening up a health club and tennis center can't be lost here. But, but here I am getting involved in this. I'm like, okay, let's see what we have to do. So we do a feasibility study and they go, okay, yeah, it's a good idea. Your area needs tennis courts. But if you think it's going to sustain you and make you a lot of money, it's not. You need to add ancillary things, health club, and go from there. So what started off as a 7 or 8 court tennis venture turned out to be a $15 million, 100,000 square foot health club and tennis center. How's that for just, shooting for the moon, as it were. So
that's a lot. That's not a hobby.
No.
For sure. That's not a hobby business. That's for
not
sure.
A hobby. Right. So what happened is that, okay, so we started this thing. So we go do the feasibility study. Then we got to find a place to put it. Then we got to negotiate for the land. Then we have to find an architect, an engineer, go to the city and get their approval. So we go to the city and they're like, yeah, we like it. But now you need to go out and get a civil engineer to make sure that the traffic goes okay and the parking is good. And time is going. And I'm putting money into this to the tune of, by 2008, over $3 million of my money and investors' money. Now, if it was 2006 or 2007 when we finally got all those approvals, walking into the bank was as if you walked into Costco during lunchtime. And for anybody who's there, like, what does he mean? You could
Mm-hmm.
have lunch for free in Costco just by going to the ends of every aisle to the women that are giving out samples for
Mm-hmm.
free. And it was like that in the bank. You walk into the bank, you're like, yeah, we got money for you. I mean, I refinanced my house a couple of times, each like a year or so later, and they like we evaluated and put it higher. I didn't understand what was going on in the full picture of it all
Right.
until 2008 when we finally got approved. We go into the bank. We're like, okay, it's August 2008. We're finally ready. And they're like, yeah, we're not lending. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm 3 million into this, 3+ million into it. They're like, well, things are changing. We're not lending right now. A month later, Bernie Madoff, the subprime loans, the world falls apart. The financial
Mm-hmm.
world falls apart like a house of cards.
Yeah.
And I'm the joker on the bottom of the deck.
No.
And I wasn't laughing either.
Yeah.
I was, you know what I was? And think about it. I was the suicide Jack.
That's harsh. And so many people went through that kind of stuff back then. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So out of that, I went into a depression for about a year.
Mhm.
And it took me about a year to finally recognize that what it was a situational depression, which I understood, but when you're going through it, you don't want to you don't want to hear that. I went through some therapy, I went through some coaching, and I lost everything. I stopped paying my mortgage, I stopped paying my car payments. About 2-3 months into this, one day my son says, "Dad, look outside." My BMW was being towed away. My house was foreclosed on, but because it was New Jersey and there were so many houses being foreclosed on, they didn't take the house away from us right away. As a matter of fact, I think it took like 7 or 8 years, maybe 9, before they finally actually took the house. So, I mean, it's good, but at the end of the day, my house was foreclosed on, which was a tough thing. So, about a year into this, I said, okay, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And I looked back and I said, I don't love being a businessman. I've always been a businessman my entire life. And now I have a chance to reinvent myself. So what do I want to do? I thought about it and I realized that a lot of what I was doing was because I was trying to please other people. I realized I was a little bit of a people pleaser. That came a little later that revelation came to me, but that's who I was. And I said, okay, what do I want to do? And I realized I loved helping people. I was the head of many community organizations. And as a leader, you don't even realize, most leaders don't even realize the good leaders are coaches. They get people into the organizations and they get them to find their potential and build on it. So I said, oh, I guess I'm a coach. So I went to coach training school. But about 2 months before I went to training, it was my 24th wedding anniversary. My wife said, I'm done. I want a divorce. I'm like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? I kind of knew it was coming, but until it actually happened. So, you can imagine, I felt every emotion that comes when you go through that. You know,
No, I can imagine. And it's one of those things that when you go through that journey and you're hitting that point of, okay, I hit rock bottom and now I'm coming back up and then something hits you again. And
yep,
I think it's really important that we bring this to attention for the very simple fact that um, if somebody's listening to this and you've been there before, realize we've all been through it. It happens. We all go through the stuff and
yes,
and those times. Don't ever go with that challenge. Is could it get ever get worse? Yes, it
yes,
could.
it could, yes, it
And
could get
so,
worse.
and you have to be prepared for that. And also know it'll be okay. And that there are other options. There are things that will help bring you back into it. And that's where you've gotten to a point now where you've completely reinvented yourself, reinvented what you do. And I know you've got a lovely wife, great relationship, great family right now, because I know you talk about them all the time
Yeah,
during many of our
my
conversations.
lovely second wife.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, I did get divorced.
But you have, I mean, you're always talking about your family, and I know family is very important to you, and I
Very
love
important.
that. So tell us a little bit more. You've gotten into the becoming a coach.
Right.
What
Right.
has that what is that like? Fast forward just a little bit and tell us kind of where has that taken you in
Okay.
your journey?
Okay. But before I fast forward, I have to
Okay.
explain to you and to the audience that I still decided that I was going to go to coach training.
Hmm.
And I went to the school and I said, look, I can't afford this, but if you come up with a payment plan, I can't go get financing. I promise I'll pay every month. And they said, okay, we'll make that deal with you, but you don't get your certificate until you graduate, until you pay. I'm like, okay, that's a fair deal. And
Right.
we did that. And that first weekend, I started to understand the baggage that I was carrying around, that I was a people pleaser, that I was a control freak, that I took everything personally. And all those led to me being somebody with a very short temper, which was like, that's who I am. And that's the beginning of it. If you believe that that's who you are, then that's who you are.
Hmm.
And they said to me, you don't have to continue to believe that. You could change who you think you are to who you want to be. And that's where that all came in. And I understood that being a people pleaser and a control freak and all those other things, I was in deep within inside, I was a worrier. And I had to stop worrying about everything and take control and stop saying, like, one of the first things I said when my wife asked for the divorce was, why does everything keep happening to me? And you know what that is? That's me laying blame on everybody else. What I say now is things happened through me. The good things, the bad things, the neutral things, they all happen through me because I recognize that it's in my control. Me, I'm in my control. I can't control anybody else. I can only control myself and the things around me. So that's where it led me to now understand. And I went through a few years of this transformational thing to come out and realize that I was loving my life because I was afraid when I first got divorced that nobody was ever going to love me. And what came out of coaching was I didn't like myself. Why would anybody else like me?
Sometimes we have to stop and think about that. And we you said something really important. You were talking about the fact that you were a very angry person, and which is really, to me, I think this goes to show how far you've come, because in the time I've known you, I've never seen you as an angry person in any way, shape, or form. You are actually one of the happiest people that I know, which is
Right.
always, that's why we have such great conversations. Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, okay, we're, as of the time we're recording this, literally yesterday, which was a Sunday, you reached out to me and said, hey, you got a minute? And what do? We ended up jumping on a Zoom and we ended up talking for an hour.
Yeah. It was also my birthday.
It was also your birthday, yeah. Which was, for me, it's like if it had been my birthday, it was like, sorry, dude, you gotta have to wait. But you reached out to me, and it's like I enjoy those conversations, and
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
I think that one of the reason I want to bring this up is not just to not just to stroke your ego and tell you how amazing you are, because you are,
Yeah, I
but
know. It's just
yeah. But on top of that, I want you I want people listening to pay attention to the power of being a pleasing person. Which, I mean, this is the kind of stuff, if anybody, if you've listened to this and you've been around for a while, Think and Grow Rich and things like How to Win Friends and Influence People make fun of that book because they think it's such a joke, and reality is it's not. These
it's
are
not.
simple skills that, and it really boils down to, if you're a nice person and people enjoy being around you, they will want to be around you more.
Yeah.
It really isn't that difficult.
Right.
But
Right.
that's, and that's why I want to say this, is because you've reached out to me and we've had conversations at all kinds of different days and nights and everything. And it's because, like, for me, if you reach out to me and say, hey, do you got a minute? If I got a minute, I'm going to give it to you because I enjoy our conversations. You were so good to talk to, so fun to talk to. And I think that's important for people to realize, because so
Yeah.
many people miss the boat on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And, I think that goes back to my childhood and my father. And any day I had off from school, my mother shipped me off to work with my father. And I think it was because of my ADHD, which at the time we didn't have those words.
Right.
I was lazy and immature. but I now I've been, kind of sort of diagnosed with ADHD in my 50s.
Okay.
That didn't help me in my teens and my 20s. But so my mom would ship me off to my dad's factory, which was about a mile or so away from the house.
Hmm.
And I would watch my dad every morning he'd get there early, do his paperwork, and then when everybody started coming in, every single morning, he would walk around the factory and say good morning to everybody in the factory
Mm-hmm.
and stop by a different person every day. Hi, Mary. How are you today? How's your husband? Hi, John. What's going on? How's things going? Spending a minute or two with each one of them at, not all the same day. Every day, somebody different. And he made each one of them feel important and that they were being heard and who they were mattered. So
Nice.
that I got from my dad.
That is awesome. I love it. And let's talk about, like, you got the book, you got the cards, you got all kinds of stuff from that aspect.
Right.
Just for like a minute, let's talk about the book, because I know that was a huge, huge, big launch for you, and I was really excited to be able to be around when that happened.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about what the book is.
Here it is.
Kinda
It's
right
called,
there.
I don't know if it shows in the right way.
Yep. Nope.
Worrier.
It
And it
looks
says,
actually it's great. Most people get it backwards, so yours is perfect. Love it.
it's Worrier to Warrior. And my New York accent screws that up. That's W-O Warrior to W-A Warrior, because
Mhm.
that's what I did. And I didn't recognize that that's who I had become
Yeah.
until COVID.
Right.
And about 2 or 3 months into COVID, and I turned to my now wife, who we were married about 2 years at the time, maybe, about 2 years.
Mhm.
And remember what they said when COVID first started? It's going to be 2-3 weeks and then everything's going to be fine. So that was March. By
Mhm.
May, people were still wearing the masks, wearing the gloves, not going out. And I turned to my wife. I said, let's take her kids, and go to Manhattan, go to the city. I live in Brooklyn. And we were able to drive straight down Fifth Avenue without missing a traffic light. Now, anybody that's ever driven in New York can tell you that doesn't happen.
Right.
But there was nobody on the streets.
Mhm.
I was like, where is everybody? You could still come outside, stay 6 feet away from each other, put the gloves on even if you want, put the mask on, and go outside. And people weren't. So I got onto Facebook and I went on a live stream and I said, guys, I get it. I understand that you're worried. And I was there too. But I realized the last 10, 12 years up to that point, going through the loss of all my money, going through the divorce, going through a weight roller coaster of gaining a lot of weight and losing it all, I recognized that God was preparing me to be ready for anything that came my way. And how did he prepare me? By putting me through these tests, coming out the other side and recognizing that it's not anybody else's issues that are going on. Even if the world is shut down for COVID, doesn't mean I have to shut myself down. I can live how I want to live. So I told people, how'd you like to go from being a worrier to a warrior? And that's where the Warrior's Life Code came out.
That is awesome. I love it. Great book. My copy of this book is on the bookshelf right over there, as a matter of fact. The deck is on my deck. I think it's buried underneath right here. Oh, it is. It's actually right here. See, I'll pull it out just so you can prove. See, I have the unlock card.
Unlock.
Right? Yep, that's one of them. That's one of the entire deck. I got them sitting right here.
I just dropped one of the cards on the floor.
So
here's the whole deck.
Yeah. So you've been helping people get this stuff out of their heads, getting away from being a warrior into a warrior. Of course, I can't say it right either. But the reality is, what does a client look like when they come to you from that aspect? Where are they at in their world when they first come and realize that they need your help?
Yeah, many of them are like they're struggling with, is this all there is in their life? That existential crisis that they don't even know how to explain to me, let alone themselves, as to what's going on. And my answer to them is, yes, this is all there is, but it's the way you're looking at it. That's the issue. And it's about saying, I wake up in the morning and say, I have to go to work. Why don't you change it to go, I get to go to work? Now, if you don't like your job, there's a couple of things you can do. You could switch your job, but most people can't do that. So enjoy your job. Go in and say, I'm going to be fully present here, do the best I can for the people I work with. And if it's something you want to change, don't do it during those hours. You have extra hours during the day. You don't have to watch TV at night. You don't have to do those things. You can figure out those times to build whatever it is that you really want to do
Right.
and be productive there.
No, I love that. And I think you just said something very important that, not enough people understand in today's world. And I'm hoping that the people that are listening to this show get it. And already this is like, preaching to the choir from our crowd. But if you have a position, like say, for instance, you have a job that you're not happy with, go to the job, do the best you can while you're at the job.
Be 100% present.
Wow. Be 100% present while you're looking for something else. I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people in today's society tend to miss the boat, is they don't realize that you still need to give 100% because that's what you signed up for. Doesn't
Right,
mean
right,
you're
right.
stuck there. And that's really important to keep in mind too, is you're not stuck there. You can, what's the saying? It's like, you're not a tree. You can move, you can get up and move
Exactly.
if you want. Um,
Yeah. By the way, you see this sign that's over here on right over under
yeah,
it says, "Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life."
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. So you have some other stuff that you're working on too, that you've launched a new program that's kind of taken what you do, especially working with entrepreneurs, to a totally different level. Let's go ahead and shift a little bit into that direction.
Sure. So over the last 10, 12, 13, 14 years, however long I've been involved in coaching, I've always loved helping people. I've loved getting things. And that's what my book is about, is taking the things I've learned and that I've developed through helping my clients and memorializing it and in practical ways to do their stuff. And along the way, you always get these guys who say, I could help you do your business. I can help you make your business into a multi-million dollar business. And for years, I had that mindset. Oh, I want to be a millionaire. Now I have a mindset of I want to help a million people, which will, if you do it right, will help you make millions of dollars. But my focus is to help the people. So what I realized was I was getting into these programs and I was spending a lot of money in these programs. And it ended up that I was disillusioned because I didn't get what I thought they were going to give me. And I realized it was partially my fault, but partially their fault because they weren't clear with what I was going to get. And if they were wanting me to do things that I couldn't do. And they didn't explain that to me, saying, oh, you'll figure out how to use Facebook ads and you'll figure out how to write code or build a CRM, or for people who know what a CRM is, and all that stuff. And I was getting very upset with it. And finally, I realized, you know what? They take all my money and they go, okay, great. Now here's the things, go do it. And they're gone. And I said, none of them have skin in the game. They're coaching the coaches. They're taking the money and they're like, okay, go. And if you fail, it's on you. So I said, you know what? I'm going to change the paradigm on that. I'm going to shift it. And instead, I'm going to say the coach, meaning me, I'm going to have skin in the game with you. By that, I'm saying, give me 12.5% of what it's going to cost for the entire program. And the rest of it, I'll do what's called a risk reversal strategy with you, meaning that you don't start paying me again until you see a return on your investment. Now, that's a totally different paradigm. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do it for you. It'll be a done for you. It'll be a done with you and a done for you, instead of what I was doing with the other programs, which was a done to you program. You're like, what do you think of that?
I think it's really important that, it's funny because you talk about this conversation of where a lot of people have jumped in and they realize that the coaches are not giving them they're not really sure what the promise is, but what they get definitely isn't it. That's for sure. I think that's a good way to talk about it. I literally posted something about this earlier today. So our conversation is very timely in this aspect. I think when you're building a business, and you and I both know a lot of the same people, we run in the same circles. And
Yes.
so what we've seen, especially, it's kind of like, and you and I've talked about this right now, the coaching speaking industry tends to be kind of like the house of cards you were talking about with the financial crisis back
absolutely.
in 2008. It's very similar. And a lot of it is because so many people in the coaching industry have basically made a lot of big promises and haven't delivered on that. Right. And so I think that it's a different concept and a different way to go. It's like, hey, we're not going to do this from, I'm not going to just say, here's what you need to do and walk away and you're on your own. I'm going to be working with you this entire process.
And some of it is going to be done for you. And here's what I'm saying
Yeah.
to you. If you commit to me, I commit to you. If you don't give up, I don't give up. That's guarantee number one.
Right.
And I didn't say, by the way, that what I'm doing here is I'm saying that you can have a 7-figure business within 2 years guaranteed, because it's built into the model of how the structure of investment to me goes. If I'm not producing and you're not producing as a result, then you don't pay me.
Right.
That's a different paradigm. That's a different thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that that's one of the things that people need from that aspect. And they need to come from a place of, okay, here's what you're going to get. And here's where, here's the steps.
Right.
That's one of the things that I think that I'm noticing, and more, I mean, I'm even changing some of my own stuff with the idea of how do we frame it into milestone processes as opposed to
Right.
from A to Z, because A to Z is a really long journey, but from A to B, I can see that flag
Right.
down the road.
Right.
So let's get you
Exactly.
from A to B, and once you get to B, then you can see the flag for C, and
Right.
so it's an easier process for people to understand. And the reason I'm diving into this with you is because as people that are in the coaching industry, I think this is very critical. And I think a lot of us need to be kind of shifting the way we do things in this.
Right.
We need to bring things into that smaller bite-sized chunks and let people know that we actually care about them. This is a very big one with me. You've heard me talk about this before. It's like
100%.
quit treating your clients like they're ATMs. That's not what it's about. It's about how do we get results and of course get paid. We should
Right.
be able to make a good profit
Right.
off of.
And you hit such a great line just there. So many of these coaches are selling or sharing information.
Yep.
What they should be selling is results.
Yes.
And that's what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I'm selling results. So I'm sharing results because if I don't get paid if you don't get paid.
Right.
So,
Nice.
and I'm in there with you. So my success is tied into your success. And if I'm doing my job right, you're going to become a raving fan and you're going to say, hey, Bob, you've got to hear about what Martin's doing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and that's the greatest thing. I mean, I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before because I bring it up a lot, but like one of the best things for a lot of people out here probably heard of the marketer, Frank Kern. He's been around forever. He's one of the, the OGs of the marketing world.
Exactly. A good way to put it.
Yeah. My favorite quote and lesson that I've ever gotten from him was the best way to show people that you can get them results is by getting them results.
Occam's razor.
It's really not that hard, So I love that. So, all right. So let's go ahead and wrap some things up here. And the cool thing is you've worked with the mindset stuff. And a lot of times when we have the coaching world, we have two separate pieces. You have mindset coaches, and then you also have functional business coaches, and they're two separate entities. You do have one special gift of being able to marry the two together, which I think is awesome. And you got some great things that you're working on with that.
Thank you.
As we wrap up here, I got two final questions for you. Okay.
Yeah, but before you ask me that question, I just want to mention to the people that are saying, how's he going to do this? How are we going to? One of the things is that I want to show you how to be scalable.
Yeah.
So I knew we were going to wrap up, but I forgot to mention that. And I think it's important. I don't want you working your business 24/7.
Right.
I want you to be doing what you think is important for you and your business to be successful, and find other people around you to help you so that you can become scalable. Yeah. So now ask me the questions.
Okay. All right. Good point. Scalable is also an important thing if you want a successful business. So last two questions. Second to the last question, super simple one, but this is the Meet Cool People show. So what does meeting cool people mean to you?
Oh, for me, meeting cool people means that I get to expand my horizon. I get to do things with people that I don't know and learn about them and what's exciting to them, and maybe something that become exciting to me. For example, I'll give you a perfect example with you. What's one thing that the people probably know about you is you love Renaissance fairs. Mm-hmm. You go to them as often as you can.
Yep.
Now, I didn't know that about you until I got to know you. And one of the things that's been on my, believe it or not, bucket list for 30 years is to go to a Renaissance fair.
Yep.
And I told you earlier, about a couple of weeks ago, this summer in New York, they have a huge one that goes on for months. I told my wife, we're going this summer to a Renaissance fair because Eli loves them. So I got to go.
A lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun. Maybe we'll have to plan it out and I'll come visit you. We'll go to the fair together.
Oh, even better. Even better. That's a home run.
I'll introduce you to some good mead. There's always good mead at a Ren fair. All right. Awesome. So last question, my friend, is the simple one. This is the one that everybody always wants to know. You shared a bunch of really cool stuff. You got different things. The book obviously is on Amazon. They can get it there. The cards they can get from your website, which we'll share in just a second. Everything about you. There's a lot of different ways people can connect with you. What's the best way for somebody to reach out and connect with you if they want to learn more about Martin?
Well, I love that you use those words because I made it that simple. Go to connectwithmartin.com.
And where did
I got that tip from a good friend of mine named Eli Delaney.
I was just going to say, where did you get that really cool idea from? Awesome. So connect with Martin.
I give credit where credit is due.
And it is greatly appreciated.
And if it's good enough, you get cash too. So
there we go. We like that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, my friend. This has been a pleasure as always. We always have a good conversation.
Absolutely.
Get out there, have an amazing day. And of course, if there's anything that I can do to help you out, reach out, let me know anytime. And that wraps up another Meet Cool People show. Now, if you like what you heard, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, or review so I can help introduce these amazing cool people to even more amazing cool people. And just remember, meeting cool people is just the beginning. You need to have a system in place to follow up with the amazing people that you meet. This is exactly what we do for our clients. If you'd like to see if my team and I can help you, go to followuprockstar.com and check out the case study video to see exactly how we're helping our clients turn casual connections into cash clients for life. Again, go to followuprockstar.com and we'll see how we can work together to turn you into a follow-up rockstar.